Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Grave Encounters.
Psychiatric hospitals like this were seen as sort of a dumping ground for embarrassing family members rather than a place that they could go to actually get help.
Many of them were severely disturbed. It's truly frightening.
I swear to God that I saw someone right at the end of the hall there.
And he swears that something pushed him off the ladder.
So you guys see this window here? I lock it up real good at night. Come back in the morning. Sometimes this thing's wide open.
Tonight, my crew and I, using the most sophisticated in ghost hunting equipment, we're in search of definitive proof of spirits that were unsettled in life and possibly unsettled in the afterlife. Is there someone here with us?
Here's a movie called Grave Encounters, written and directed by the Vicious Brothers.
They probably think that helps their movie, but it doesn't help their movie.
There's a few of these, the brothers people, you know, the Coen brothers obviously being the most famous and the most awesome.
Who are the Coen brothers?
The Coen brothers, never heard of them? They're obscure, yes. The Hughes brothers, or I'm missing a bunch, the Wachowski siblings.
Yeah, Lana now, rather than Larry.
No, nobody wants to be Larry. Nobody wants to be Larry. This makes use of another great location, which is a real facility somewhere around Vancouver. Mm-hmm. They used to shoot tons of episodes of Millennium and X-Files using that as a location in that same location.
Oh, really?
It's not been used as a hospital for a long time, but it's one of the most filmed locations, apparently, out there. But instead of just using like a dirty, dusty hallway or a big empty room or a corner of this facility, they actually use the whole facility as,
they make use of some pretty creepy surroundings.
The location. Mm-hmm. And they also, we were talking again about these Discovery faux documentary, cheesy ghost hunty shows. Mm-hmm. I think it sort of puts those shows a little bit in the crosshairs. I remember I kind of... because I wanted you to like the movie. I remember I kind of
warned you a little bit.
I warned you, like, you're going to start off and you're probably not going to like some of these characters and you're not going to be sure about the acting. Like, there's a deliberate cheesiness to the beginning of the movie that I can concede might be off-putting to some people, but you got to stay with this movie because I think if you do, you'll be rewarded.
But I thought it was pretty, like, even if you hadn't mentioned that to me, I thought the movie... did an excellent job. Particularly, it's mostly the main character's performance that does what you're talking about. Yeah, I got it right away. Like, I understood that he was supposed to be a bit of a jagoff who, didn't give two shits about the truth of these places.
It's not that he doesn't believe in ghosts. It's that he wants to make the best ghost show that he can make. Yeah. And if that means he's got to bribe the...
It'd be great if there were real ghosts.
If they were real, that would be awesome. Yeah. If we get some real footage, great. Yeah. But if I have to pay the custodian to tell me a bullshit story on camera, I'm willing to do that. If I have to hire an actor to be the psychic for the show, I'm going to do that. Yeah. And I love the way everybody is in on the joke. Even the members of the crew who are quote-unquote serious about it know that they're in a TV show and come to this place with no real expectations.
And that this dude pulls this shit every episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is like the 8th episode of the series that they were saying, something like that. So they've been at it together for a while.
The producer says that it doesn't air after the 5th, so and this is like why. Because this footage...
Because of the film.
They didn't air anymore after they discovered everyone disappeared and they found this footage.
Yeah. The trailer for this movie went viral on YouTube. It sort of became popular before it was released because they cut together a really cool haunted house trailer out of it. And I think they actually brought the goods. When I saw the movie, I was surprised at how effective it was. It actually creeped me out a little bit. So I'm curious to hear what you thought of it.
Well, I love good haunted house stories. This one in particular was remarkably similar to a short film that I wrote and semi-produced years ago.
Nice.
It was I was teaching drama to a group of kids, and that year the coordinator had decided to switch it to a film program. So once we realized the kids didn't really want to be as involved to the point where they would write their own movie, I took the reins and was like, okay, I'll write a ghost story for you. And they loved it. When we did like our first teaser sequence, they were like, oh, this is great, we got to finish this story. And so I wrote the pilot for a TV show that was very much this. It was like a group of filmmakers who it was sort of like the antithesis of this, in that it was a group of filmmakers who went to supposedly haunted places purposefully to debunk the legend. And of course,
find the real deal.
So they're non-believers who stumble. It's like a bunch of Scullys who stumble upon haunted.
The real deal.
Yeah, the real deal. So as soon as I realized that's what it was about, I got all excited and was like, "This is the movie we could have made," you know. And it is pretty effective. The acting's really convincing for the most part. The psychic is very entertaining, but kind of the weak point of the film. I think mostly because he's the only actor I recognized.
Right.
I don't even know from what. His mug was so
my
recognizable.
My wife was watching some terrible fantasy show, and he showed up, and I don't know what it was, but the special effects looked like sci-fi movie level. I can't remember.
He was a wizard or something.
Seeker?
He has a real wizard
Seeker?
face.
Legends, maybe
The Seeker, based on
like
a kid's book.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, it was. I don't know. Lots of scares, and scares that were like one step below effective scare, where I recognized what they were going for, but it didn't quite work. Like when the same dude, the psychic, gets thrown across, like choked in midair and then thrown across the room. It would kind of creep me out, but at the same time, I was like, this is different from the rest of the movie in some way, where they just took it to a place that deprioritized the suspension of disbelief a little bit.
I think
just to have like a money moment that would look good in the trailer,
right.
You got to have your trailer moments. And you tell me, I never saw the trailer. Was that moment in the trailer?
Just his sort of body going down the hallway and hitting the ground, just that thump.
So
we didn't see the initial.
They
lift.
saved some of it,
but basically it was just a lot of the boost scares, a lot of the CG, and the computer graphics, which are in it a lot, don't bother me as much in this movie as it does in some of the other movies.
Where were their computer graphics?
Like when the ghost turns and opens its mouth, and its mouth is way too big for its face. They've all augmented that with that would computer and things like that. And just little augmentations.
The hands coming out of the walls,
absolutely,
which was terrifying.
But I think that the movie does a smart thing by taking you a little bit off balance at the beginning, because the guy is such a chotch. The lead host is like got a Pat Eubanks sort of vibe going on to it.
Yeah.
You sort of almost get knocked back into satirical funny mode for a second.
Yeah.
So when it starts to get a little bit more scary, you're like, oh, okay, here we go. Here comes the scary. I didn't anticipate it to go as hard and dark as it did. Mm-hmm. And I liked that it went there. And it sort of, like I say, it caught me out of surprise, because in a way, the whole jokey tone of it sort of thought, okay, we're going to have sort of these guys are going to be taught a lesson to take supernatural things seriously. Yeah. No, they're going to be fucking killed brutally.
Yeah. I was, same thing. I was kind of expecting like Blair Witch Light.
Yeah.
Sort of. I guess probably for the same reasons, that he was just like, there was something goofy about him. But it was goofy in line with setting him up for a fall that made sense over the course of the film, I guess. Because by the end, when he's all alone in the tunnel and has to go to sleep because he's so tired, but there's nobody to like stand guard, that was terrifying. And it wouldn't be if his characterization had not been effective from the start of the film.
The journey from super cheesy, I'm on TV, to I'm going to eat a rat.
Yeah.
To sustain myself. Yeah. Because I'm starving to death.
Because I've been here for what seems like weeks now at that point.
That is a pretty effective journey. And there's a wide gap in between. And we see a lot of the steps. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I give big kudos to him. And again, like I said, at first I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I liked him. And then once I saw where he was going, I liked him a lot. So.
Yeah. This movie had, like you mentioned, the moment that most of these movies have, where somebody says, "What are you filming me for, fool?" That absolutely. Kind of thing. This movie has that moment. Yeah. I don't remember exactly where it happened, but I remember clocking it when I was watching it and being like, "Oh, come on! Like, why you gotta do that?" And I think it was the token black guy who said it, right?
And in that scenario, what else are you gonna do? Like, I mean, you can't leave. It's been established they can't leave the place, and they have the camera equipment. Like,
they also. I don't remember a specific line of dialogue that sets it up, but I got the impression that the only reason they could see as effectively as they could in most of the scenes was because they have night vision on the camera.
Yeah. And lights mounted to the camera.
Yeah. Like the one camera shoots night vision, right? And the other one has
again, you've got a lot of other problems to deal with. This seems almost minor compared. Let the guy run the camera if it makes him feel better. The batteries will die sooner or later.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Let's not sweat the small stuff. Another brilliant use of the conceit is we get a good walkthrough of all the creepy locations when they first get there, and they show us the room with the bathtub, and they show us the room with the window, and they show us all of those locations that are going to be used again later on, and they do it in that cheesy TV special way. The window sometimes opens by itself. You know, there maybe someone slit their wrists in this bathtub. Or maybe they didn't. We don't know, but it's a creepy story, right? And we get payoffs on all of those rooms later on.
Yeah.
And when you return to those rooms in the dark of night, when they're wandering by themselves, either to collect equipment or whatever conceit that they've come up with to break them up, and they do that successfully several times. Separate the group in ways that don't make me go bullshit. It works. It works. I think that. Because of the map out of it being an investigation of a haunting, they really were able to plant seeds and then pay them all
Plant
off.
seeds while also, like, one of the things that I appreciated about this one is that while Blair Witch has a significant amount of setup before it really becomes terrifying, the setup is not really that scary. It's suspenseful, but it really reads like setup in retrospect. Whereas this one, because of the nature of the rooms that they're exploring, I found it was the opposite. I was creeped out just watching them explore. Like when he stands in the middle of the shower room and his voice echoes that certain way, it's creepy already. You know it's going to get, or you hope it's going to get creepier later, but it's already kind of scary.
Yeah. They take their time with the first half of the movie to work your nerves so that when the scares come for the second, 40 minutes or so of the movie, they come pretty fast and furious, and they work effectively. I think that it does require a little bit of patience. It is, again, another one of these movies you got to meet halfway. But I think if you're willing to do it, this is a really fucking good found footage movie. And it surprised me. I was kind of preparing myself for it to go the other way when I sat down to watch it.
It wasn't a well-received movie. From what I've read.
People seem to be mixed on it. I'm a big fan. I gotta say, I genuinely liked it.
There's things
I watch
that are
a lot
cheesy
of horror
about it,
movies.
but it's really quite entertaining and scary.
I watch a lot of horror movies, Jaron, and I can see a jump scare coming a mile away. And I gotta say, I jumped a couple times watching this movie.
Yeah, at moments where I didn't expect to. I was like, oh wow, it really got me there.
And it's not just necessarily about a sudden loud noise, which is an easy cheat. It's just a well set up boo, and there's a lot to be said about it.
Yeah.
You watch the special features on this film, you see these kids being interviewed, and they look like they're 17 years old, and they're these goth kids who have watched way too many
These are the
movies.
Vicious Brothers you're talking about?
I don't know how old they are. They look like they're kids, but I'm going to say they're in their 20s. But I gotta say, this was their first time out, and they gave good movie. And apparently they're doing an alien abduction thing coming up, and I will give that a look. There is a sequel to Grave Encounters.
Have you seen it?
I have it. If you want to have a look, I can lend it to you.
Is it really bad? You sound like you didn't like it.
I am disappointed. I don't think it's a 100%
They wrote
catastrophe.
it. The Vicious Brothers
They wrote it.
it.
A different guy directed it.
Yeah.
And they went a brave direction with it, I will say. But I love me the original. And, just give me a good haunted house movie. I don't think you need to overcomplicate it necessarily. But conversation for another day. Okay. The bullet point here is Grave Encounters. If you like scary movies, you should watch it.
Yeah, thumbs up for Grave Encounters.